Yeah, so it actually snowed in Seattle, which is the thing that seems to happen every other year or so. And with that, I definitely wanted to go out and take photos. So I got up early, hoping to create some images on my RZ67 that would balance the blue hour of just like sunrise with the streetlights as we went around and tried to enjoy that morning. But I had forgotten my tripod, so I was just walking around carrying things, which is a bit of a challenge to be shooting that slow. A few of these images though here at the beginning, I really love how they stand out though with those rich blues contrasted with the yellows of the lights. It was really fun though to keep just walking around, and anytime you have the space to yourself is really neat, especially in a place like this where snowing is so rare. This is one of my favorite photos from that morning, just because with the framing and the way that the light came together, mixing the blue house, the blue snow with the yellow, just pops really solidly. And I love the way that all the details come in there together. One thing that was really tricky is because it was continuing to snow, so trying to focus through an RZ, fully manual, down through the ground glass in a snowstorm like this was really hard, and therefore I missed a few photos like this one that would have been really cool. But I also tried to stick to stuff that was just a little bit further away, so be closer to infinity. And I really like how this one also turned out with the contrast of the blue scene with those yellow street lamps and how just much they pop. I will admit that I loved walking down those streets that were all by myself, and you know, I'm a bit of a powder hound when I go skiing, so I guess it's no different when I'm photographing. It was interesting to make a couple photos in scenes that didn't have the yellow lights in them, just to see what that compared to really dim ones, and I was hoping that that balance would be more pronounced, but it didn't really quite shine through in the same way and ended up feeling like that over blue, which I don't know, I might like, but I'm not entirely certain. It's also amazing how fast 10 photos can go when you're out enjoying yourself like this, and the snow just kept coming down, and it was pretty a fun morning to be out making photos. This last one here is going to be the 10th photo of the roll. It was really kind of a bit of a disappointment to me just because I accidentally underexposed it a lot and it's pretty worthless. It's very interesting to compare these to photos I made later in the day with the same camera and the same film, also on Portra 400, also on the RZ, but to go out in broad daylight and be able to shoot with all the light and be able to shoot wide open and also with those faster shutter speeds, and how different the lighting and the scenes and the balance looks to those ones made first thing in the morning, including this one, which is one of my favorite photos of Lena ever. But I agree. So I went out again, this time bringing my Canon ELAN 7E and the 50-1.2 lens and Kodak Gold 200, hoping to make more photos. That said, this time I kind of was just crazy overexposing things, because having the tripod, not having to worry about holding the photos, meant that I knew that I could kind of take the photos as long as I wanted, and with that was taking a lot longer exposures, which I don't know if I actually like it as much. I really like the ones with the blue balance of the other photos, but even though these were taken at that same time of morning, the blue is not nearly as pronounced, because by overexposing, it's pushing those highlight colors up out of the blue range and into the white range, and it's kind of balancing it out in a very different way. And that's not to say they aren't good, but it definitely doesn't have that like twilight feel that I had with the photos I'd taken the day before with a slower shutter speed. These ones here are particularly interesting just because you can see with a much slower shutter speed, you can see that snow floating through, which isn't necessarily the greatest look. It's kind of hard to tell if it's snow or if it's rain. And this is something that Ben Heisch did a video talking about, the importance of fast shutter speeds when shooting in snow, just because it creates that magical stuff by stopping the snow itself. And instead, by moving, it just looks more like rain. Anyway, I kind of finished off the roll. Just out. I think by this point I wasn't even using a tripod and was just shooting with the ELAN and shooting wide open at 1.2, which I'm really realizing how much that lens vignettes on film, and I don't know, I definitely need to be better about not shooting it wide open, because I don't know if I like that look. It's something that's easy to make to go away when you're shooting digital, but the vignetting is so strong here that, I don't know, I gotta learn to work with that a little bit better. Anyway, it was a pretty fun day to be out making photos, and I hope you enjoyed this little photo walk with me. See you around.